Welcome to this episode of Zeitgeist podcast with Niklas and Flo. Hi, I'm Niklas.
Hi, I'm Flo.
Today we're gonna talk about financial literacy. And I think this is a really, really both interesting and very important topic. And maybe I start a bit with a provocative question. Why are people so bad at managing their money?
I believe this is like one of the oldest questions, and it's because we don't learn anything about it in school. Um, a lot of the most interesting questions around money should also be probably taught by our parents, and since parents also usually don't have like the big idea about how to invest, how to maybe even resolve different types of questions regarding money, they don't have the background knowledge to teach it to their children. So that's like a generational problem which goes on and on. I think since there are definitely a lot of good social media influencers who are talking about money, it should break the chain and help the lower income, middle income people to really understand everything they need to know to get some kind of better understanding about what to do with it.
Yeah. So thinking about it, it makes a lot of sense, and I agree. I cannot remember to have learned a single thing about money in school. I was lucky in the sense that I learned something about money at home, but I would have not have learned it otherwise. I would have had to self-teach. And I also find it weird that we don't come to an understanding about it. And maybe
But
to
some people would say that system benefits from people who doesn't have a clue about money, like banks, for instance.
and people with money,
Also that, yeah.
to be honest. So why is it important,
Um,
financial literacy? Yeah.
I mean, to build wealth, and I'm not talking about like millions of euros or dollars or whatever, just to feel comfortable, needs a good understanding between earning money and managing money. And again, and then we're back to that this needs to be taught because, having, you see it like all the time when people win like the lottery. And again, I'm not talking about millions, more about a couple of thousands, that they spending it like faster than they can get it, for stupid stuff they don't probably need. But they feel like the desire and the moment and feel satisfied when they, I don't know, buy an expensive bag or expensive shoes or something like this, um, instead of putting it into, let's say, ETFs or into real estate or whatever, the market is good for at this very moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I fully agree. And I mean, it starts with just understanding where you're actually at, right? So how much do I get and how much do I spend and what for actually? And how did you start? I think you did now you're fairly well settled, but when you started, I think you had lower paying jobs. It wasn't always all easy, right? So how did you start? How did it work for you? Yeah.
I mean, you definitely need to build some kind of credit history to get a loan, and then with the loan you can build a little bit of wealth buying some real estate, where the appreciation is still higher than what you own, and from there you can build more and more. Let's say buying houses or investing in ETFs or in stocks or in crypto if you think this is like the way to win. But just putting the money into the bank for savings is not enough, because at the end the interest you're paying, the interest you're getting is always lower than what
you can get otherwise. And it's also like inflation usually, and you're right, is higher than the interest you're getting or something like
Exactly.
that.
This was
So,
the word that
so
I
if
was.
you are like trying to get rich by putting the money into a even fixed income bank account, you have to have a lot when you start to have a bit more, like if you look at, I think that's very simple, right? There are many ways to go. You can go, like you say, real estate. And if you're good at it and you understand it, probably makes a lot of sense. I personally primarily invest in stocks. That's kind of what I do. Um, which over time, just looking at an S&P 500, you're in between 10-15% per year. That accumulates over time. It's also becoming a lot of money. I think there are different ways. Some people got really, really rich in crypto, but also people lost
A lot of
fortunes there, like a lot of money. And especially small guys seem to foot the bill in crypto, to be honest. Like the money the big guys take out usually comes rather from the small guys, like that's at least my feeling till now. But there are definitely, as I understand it, different ways. And I think you just need to become decent at one. And then I think you told me that, and it's a while ago. The first step is just you need to have an income that is higher than what you spend.
Yep, it makes definitely sense to have some kind of, cash flow, in the best way, passive income, so that you also have time to build something extra on the side. I don't think that with like, let's say, like a general income and putting like a few $100 into stocks, that alone will not be enough. And so I disagree with some of the, TikTok finance gurus, because I still believe that you definitely need to have some kind of, secondary income, as I said, like a passive income. And there are ways to do this, with some, work and, let's say, in marketing or stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean, you have your businesses, but you also, in a different episode, we talk about Airbnb, and you have an Airbnb, for example. Could you maybe just quickly walk me through it, what this is about, basically, and how you got the idea of going there?
I'm I'm a huge Disney fan, as you know. I like to go to Orlando. So, and at some point, we just decided to build our own Disney-themed Airbnb, basically, kids friendly, because in hotels usually it's super boring for kids if they are not just taking stuff from the hotel room and put it from one side to the other side. So we thought it makes sense to have a house with like a real nice playroom, stuff like this. And yeah, this is what people are asking for. We have the occupancy load of like 90%, where the house is booked. And yeah, but again, I just want to get back real quick to like social media, because at the beginning I said that, that there's definitely some good stuff, but you also need to be careful of the wrong expectations you're sometimes getting with, like, especially day trading. You already mentioned the crypto hype. So I think it's really important to find reliable sources where you get your information from.
Yeah. So I can also, I think through my life, I've tried most of these strategies in, I would say, trading. So I've done a little bit of Forex on CFDs, future contracts, stocks, all of this. These days, I basically settled on buying stocks that I believe have a good future, are decent businesses, and just let them sit and have a good night's sleep, basically. The days when you like investing in stuff like on short-term basis or trying to figure these things out, it's just incredibly hard to be better than the market, to be very honest. Um, if you manage to be earlier, yes, there might be a trade, but oftentimes my feeling is, I mean, the S&P 500, for example, is a representation of the 500 largest companies in the US, for example. It's basically a self-managed fund, right? Now Coinbase is in, somebody else is out, basically. So these things, and on average, the average return in them is already quite good. It's extremely hard to beat these kind of things. And when you look at forex trading or technical analysis, and I'm with you on that one, I think 90%, 95% of the people that do it actually lose money. So most people lose money.
It is possible. I mean, at the end, there are definitely interesting aspects in the finance market. Stock options. But if you're not an expert and if you're scared to lose a lot of money real quick, I would definitely stay put on this. I would really start small, like buying first ETF, have a small brokerage account, do some stuff, and then you're doing already more than 90% of everyone else. Track your expenses, understanding your money flow, and then, build just basic financial buffers before going back.
Yeah, I'm quite sure that the expense tracking really is the first starting point, right? It's like a little bit less Starbucks, a little bit eat at home, cook yourself sometimes. It's just cheaper than eating out, cook instead of ordering Uber Eat. You don't make your life worse, that you can buy really good groceries in the grocery store. It's not like you're missing something at the end of the day. Cooking is fun, and these kind of things, like the small things, they really add up. And then as long as you get to the point where you basically keep more money than you spend and you don't have like a big credit card debt or something like that, then you're basically at the point where you can start investing. And then it gets actually fun because you see your money growing. And it's a bit like a snowball, right? You start really small, and the more you get, the more you get. Like
That's true. I guess you just need to understand. Financial freedom isn't about being rich; it's about being in control.
Yeah, that's very nice words. And once again, having a higher income than you're spending.
Exactly.
These were really nice final words for this episode of Zeitgeist podcast. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe, and see you next time.
Bye bye.